This is four guys in a car driving the 2012 Ford Fiesta.
This is the SES model.
Olé.
So this car is the top of the line Fiesta. It starts just under 20 grand. Now, you can't actually get a lot of options with this car. There are a few things. This is the manual transmission. So for another $1,250, you can get into the dual clutch automatic, which is pretty cool because it never needs servicing for the life of the car. You can also get an interior. You can get leather, or you can get this special two-tone leather with black and white or red and black, and that's about $1,400.
It looks awful.
Yep.
Yeah. At least in the red it does. Michael and I saw one last week, and it's really egregious.
Yeah, it's like something you'd take to a cosplay conference. You know, to make small cars cool again. The Fiesta has become Ford's race car, I guess. The Mustang, you know, still does some races, but most places around the world, Fiestas are doing road races. Rally. They're doing rally races. You know, you got Ken Block in one doing wild videos for the internet fans of the YouTubing.
I don't know. I like the way that this thing handles. I've had it on some great roads, in both manual and the automatic, which is actually dual clutch, and it handles really well for a car. It's probably it's certainly one of the better handling subcompacts for sure. I enjoy driving it, and even though it's 120 horsepower, it's still, you know, it still can be fun on some back roads.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for the last Comparo that we did, we had the Chevrolet Sonic out, and it's another one of these global small cars built by a domestic automaker that just feels really well sorted.
The one thing I noticed when I drove the Fiesta, and I drove it very early on, the car I got into, the infotainment thing was in Spanish, and it was incredibly hard to change it. And even after it was in English, it's still not the most intuitive setup.
Cars that you have to work, though, I find to be perfect for Canadian roads, because as we've said time and time again, you can't drive cars fast in this country.
True.
So to have something that you need to kind of work to get up to speed and that just is zippy around town makes for something that's extremely enjoyable.
On the commute in this morning, I did notice something about the manual transmission. It's only a 5-speed, not a 6. And you do notice on the highway when you start cruising along that it starts to rev really, really high, north of 3,000 RPM. So another gear in the transmission would make a world of difference to this, and probably make its fuel economy even better.
The automatic is actually, it functions really well. It's not like some of the other subcompact autos. It works quite nice, and there's instead of a manual control of the gears, you've got a sort of a sport mode which holds gears a little bit longer. It makes it a little bit more sporty to drive.
Now let me see if I can name off all of this car's competition. Kia Rio, Hyundai Accent, Chevy Sonic,
Mazda 2, on which it's built.
Honda Fit.
Toyota Yaris, Nissan Versa.
Suzuki SX4.
Well, yeah, not really.
There's a lot of
Or if
cross
you've
shopping.
got really low self-esteem with the SX4.
Esteem, that was a Suzuki model.
Essentially, if you like a small car, you want a small car, now they're, I guess, better than ever across the board, right?
Yes.
Does this stack up to the competition? Would you take this over something like a Honda Fit?
I think the one thing that the Fiesta doesn't have when compared to a car like the Versa or the Fit is just the immense amount of interior flexibility, especially with the Fit. The rear seats, they can kind of do anything you want them to do. And if you need a lot of space and you don't have the budget to go to a bigger vehicle, or you don't want to spend the extra money in gas, you know, the Fit still wins out from a functionality standpoint. In terms of fun to drive, I think, you know, for $20,000, it's pretty well at the top of its class.
Yeah, I really like the fact that the Fiesta's styled really well. I think it's a really attractive looking car. Looks much more expensive than it actually is. Mike's right, it is really fun to drive. The interior does let it down in terms of size and capability. The other thing is if you're a big fan of domestic cars, you finally have a couple of good small cars to buy, which is a nice thing.